Hello everybody, welcome to Short Shot Archery. Anthony here, and in this video I'm going to show you how to properly put on K&K TriFletch tape using the K&K TriFletch Jig. And basically it's just going to let you roll on 3 pieces of tape onto your arrow very easily. The size I'm using is the TriFletch 45, and that is sized for the Easton X10. They are coming out with, and they do have out, a lot of TriFletches for other sized arrows. So you just have to check their website out and see if they have one available for the arrow you shoot. If TriFletching is something that you really want to go and do, if you think it's going to save you time. So in this video I'm going to show you how it's done and some things to keep in mind. For those of you that watch this video or think you've watched this video before, that's because you did. I made a couple little errors in my previous video when I did this originally, so I am redoing the video because I want the information to be clear and concise as possible for you, the viewer. So I'm always keeping you guys in mind. I'm always trying to have the most accurate and most relevant information, that I can share with you, at least at that point in time. And since I made a mistake, or a couple little mistakes, I think it's worth redoing for you guys. Now, first off, what you're going to need, of course, the TriFletch. You're going to need an arrow that matches the TriFletch spacing, because the spacing will change. So if you got a TriFletch, say 55, if they make that size, it wouldn't fit the Easton X10 because the TriFletches on this are spaced in such a way that they wrap perfectly around the Easton X10, and they'll have other ones sized to fit like Nano Pros or other like Carbon Express products, or in other brands such as those. They're looking to cover, I think, most of the arrows on the market. So that's something that's really fun to look forward to. The other thing you're going to need, of course, TriFletch Jig. You need your arrow, and then you need, you'll need some vanes to put on that arrow, and you'll need some tape to hold those fletchings down onto your arrow shaft after you tape them. Of course, this video is focusing mostly on the application of the TriFletch tape. So let's go and do that. We pull out one piece from our TriFletch bag here, and as you can hopefully see, there is 2 sets. So 2 arrows, 2 different sheets per whole sheet. So you got this master sheet, and then there's 2 sets on each. We only want one of them, so we're going to pull off the top of this one, set aside the foil that sat on top of it. We're going to pull off the bottom here, and this sheet we can put aside because it still has the TriFletches for one more arrow on it. But this sheet that we're holding in our hand has one side of the TriFletch tape. Its adhesive is showing, so it's very sticky if you were to touch it. So, it definitely wants to adhere. This one is going to be placed onto this arrow shaft I have here. Now first, we need to do a little bit of sizing. There are sections up top here that you can remove, and you can size out the spacing so that it works well for when you put on a knock and such onto this, so that there is sufficient clearance for where you want your vanes and your fletchings to start. Because if you make it too short, then your fletchings are going to be way too close to your knock, and you could have, your fingers hitting into them and stuff like that. So you use these pieces here to adjust that length, and you can just rip them off depending on how many you need. What I like to do is, if it's the first time fletching an arrow, or a particular kind of arrow, you go and sit it into the jig here. It sits very nicely, and you can just kind of eye it up. Now, that's a lot of space still. it's going to end up putting fletchings very far down my arrow shaft, and I don't want that. So that means I need to go and tear some more. And I believe actually for me, and it's going to vary a little bit per person, having 4 sections left is the perfect amount for where I like my fletchings. So we're going to go do that, placed it back on there. It's kind of cool. There's just enough static that it actually, like I have this flipped upside down, and it is actually staying in place. Of course you want to obviously double check just in case it does move. But it's pretty cool how it does hold its own position. There's just enough tension there that it actually keeps it in its place, which is pretty wild. But before we get into rolling the TriFletch onto our arrow shaft, here's one thing to keep in mind, or maybe a couple little things. You can roll it without a knock and without a pin. So just like this, how you see here, completely fine. You can roll it with a pin. That's allowed too, but do not roll it with a knock, because you could affect how the tri-tape rolls onto the arrow shaft, and it could be kind of messy. Onto the front end of the arrow, it does not matter if you have a point in your arrow or not, so don't worry about that. The only important side is this back side, so do not roll your arrow with the TriFletch tape with a knock installed, but you can do it without a knock and or without a pin. So we're doing it without a pin or a knock, and we'll be good to go. And it's actually really easy. We just go and place this arrow down, make sure it's nice and flush with the back here, and then we're just going to roll forward from there. All right, we rolled forward. As you can see, the tape it's on there, but we want to go and take our thumb, and we want to, and we can take our pointer finger too, and we can rub down the tape the rest of the way, because the rolling jig, it really does help a lot. It makes this a piece of cake. Originally I was doing these by hand. The rolling jig just makes it it makes it so fast, so easy, and it's very accurate too. But you still want to make sure that the tape is fully adhered to your arrow shaft. So just rub your fingers on it, just up and down. Nothing crazy aggressive. Just a matter of making sure the tape is stuck to it. And it's funny because the tape really wants to stick to your arrow shaft more than its own film here. So you can get that stuck down pretty easily, and then it comes right off. So this is completely empty now. There's nothing on it, and all 3 are actually on this arrow shaft now. And then from there, you would just proceed to taking out your vanes, lining them up, and then you would go and add your tape from there. Look at that. That's pretty simple. And then you just go and break out your measured tape, and once you have your 3 fletchings on your arrow, you can just tape them right down. You will probably have to trim the tape, the tri-tape on the bottom half of the arrow shaft, because it's going to stick out. Your vane is not going to cover the entire piece of tape, so you will have to trim that carefully with with a knife or something, depending on how you want to do it. But other than that, pretty awesome. I think it's super easy. I know I can really whip through a dozen arrows at pretty much light speed now. So that's that's kind of a fun thing to do. I know a lot of people find fletching to be tedious and like a waste of their time, but they know it's important because your arrows need fletchings. But this is going to solve some of your problems. It's definitely going to make the process easier, and I can't wait to see if they have even more improvements to this in the future. I know some people voiced their the criticism about, well, it doesn't stick the vanes on too. So who knows, maybe they'll have a process for that, or just easier ways to adhere the vanes in the future. We will see. So thank you so much for watching this video. I know it's a redo probably for some people, but I really just wanted to get that corrected and put out there for you guys. So thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate the support you guys give me, and all your great comments on things you want me to do and things like that. Just a matter of finding the time is probably the biggest one. Well, finances are good too, because hopefulness doesn't feed you. But other than that, thank you so much for watching, and as always, happy shooting. Links to K&K's site too, if I did not say that before. For more information, they should have it there.